Hello, Ariana here, Heart Chakra Tarot. I want to do a collective reading today. Today is Saturday, April 24th, I believe 24th. Okay, so what message do we have for the collective? Whew. All right, I'll use, there's 4 cards, so I'll put them back in there. Aside from doing this collective message, I also got a message today as I was thinking of what video to produce today. So I'll go ahead and share that message as I'm shuffling the cards. So as I was getting ready earlier, I was thinking about my own healing, my own experiences, and how sometimes we don't go through a complete ego death. And what I mean by that is when you're going through a spiritual awakening, you encounter that there's a duality within you, right? There's a light and there's a dark. So knowing how to incorporate your darkness rather than rejecting it, or rather than holding on to resentment, anger, pain, embarrassment over different parts of you, how can you integrate it into who you are? Because there is duality. So as I was pondering that, and something I experienced within the last couple of days as well, it brought the message to me that is like, don't hide, don't keep running away from pain. Don't keep running away from necessary healing. And that was the message that came to me. And I feel that a lot of times it's too unbearable to really face the pain. But there's such a beautiful feeling once you address it, once you come out on the other side. There's such a relief, such a like a weightlessness that you feel. So let's see if something similar comes out through the cards. So what message do we have for the collective? And again, if you come across this video, I mean, my channel's fairly new, then I take that, and I hope you take that to mean that there's a golden nugget here for you. There's something for you to benefit from. I feel like there's a lot of ray of light. Not that I don't mind it. It looks beautiful. There we go. All right, what message do we have for the collective for the week of the 24th? All right. And I'm starting to sense my heart being activated. So since I was speaking of not running away from your pain, the message I get from this is there's pain, there's heartache, that needs to be resolved. So open up your heart chakra. Heart chakra. So always a recurring theme, this healing of the heart, leading with the heart, having an open heart, letting source work through your heart. All right, here we go. So what do we have here? And when I'm pulling cards, I don't have an agenda as to how many cards I'm going to be pulling. It's just really, what I intuitively feel. So it could be 4, it could be 3, it could be 12. Let's see. Oh, I was going to flip that back. I don't know what I was doing. All right. Okay. This is, all right. What I see here is that I feel like a lot of us have been going through this transformation. Like we probably came across a very difficult situation where it put us like in a fork in the road. And then I feel like a lot of you were very indecisive as what it meant, what you needed to do. But I feel like a lot of you watching have been going through it recently. Like a lot of adversity, to the point where you question whether you had the strength to continue. You question whether you had the strength to overcome. And I feel like you lost your way, in the sense of you forgot who you were. You forgot who you were. You gave your power away. You forgot what you're made out of and what you can actually overcome. So in the face of adversity, I feel like that's when the ego wants to take over, because the ego feeds on pain. It feeds on pain and it feeds on the past. So I think that many of you felt like I'm not worth it, I can't handle it, it's too challenging, and you were left feeling like there's nothing. You didn't know what to do. You didn't know what direction to take. But the message for you is, like, you are strong. Like, don't forget, you do have the strength. You're feeding yourself these false narratives. You're feeding yourself these lies. And this situation, this occurrence, is placing you in that fork in the road, because you're ready for renewal, right? Transformation. You're changing. You're being challenged to change. You're being challenged to evolve, like that butterfly, or like spiders. When I always want to reference spiders, I saw a video of a spider when it's growing, it sheds its skin. It goes like nuts, right? You should look it up. It goes nuts. And I feel like that's what we've been feeling. And it's making us question, what are we going to do? Am I worthy? Am I capable? And yes, you are. So the message here is also take care of your health throughout this. Take care of your health. And of course, you're worthy of happiness. And of course, you're worthy of abundance. But there's things that need to be addressed so that you're not counterproductive in slowing down that road to abundance. You're not putting roadblocks along the way. And something that keeps coming up, and I'm starting to feel the flow of it moving up. So this idea of, can you see that? Be authentic, authenticity. And what that means to me is, 1 second, my dog. Yes, close the door. Thank you. Authenticity. And what that means to me is, if you have a people pleasing personality, like, check yourself and say, I'm allowed to use my yes when it's a real yes. And I'm allowed to use my no when it's a real no. There's no, I feel like many of us, myself included, have this fear of saying no, right? Or what if it sounds rude? Or what if the person doesn't like it? Or what if it creates conflict? But are you being authentic, and are you honoring you? And that's what I see here, is that you sometimes feel conflicted, but you have a people-pleasing personality. So this is happening again so that you could evolve. So you're at the end of this tough cycle. So I really feel like you're going to be feeling this overwhelming sense of peace once you've gone through this. And it's supposed to really teach you, first and foremost, you're strong. You are capable. You are able to overcome this adversity. And this adversity is pushing you to evolve and to grow. And part of that growth is speaking your truth, honoring you. And in doing so, you're really showcasing the authentic you. Again, we are, through socialization in this society, we are molded to kind of go along with the crowd. We are animals, right? And we're very much like herd animals. We like to follow the pack. We don't like to, for the most part, we don't want to be isolated. and we follow the crowd. We follow it all. We follow the norms. We follow what's acceptable. But you're being asked to align with you and follow your compass. And what does that look like? You may not have a real idea as to what that looks like currently, because sometimes when we get so caught up in acting and presenting ourselves the way we feel is appropriate, or the way we feel is necessary, we kind of lose ourselves in playing this role. Like Shakespeare said, the world is a stage. So how are you presenting yourself? Is it authentic, or has it been shaped and tweaked depending on expectations, depending on people-pleasing type of personality? So maybe you find yourself thinking, you know what? That's a hard question. I don't know who I am. And I ask my students this. I say, just write down on a piece of paper, I am blank, and then describe like who you are. And a lot of times it's different roles that we play. Like, I am mom, I am wife, I am Mexican American. I'm like, okay, those are different labels and identities that have been placed on you, but that doesn't really tell me you, like inside you, in terms of what sparks you, what are you interested in, what do you dislike, like what is your enjoyment. It's telling me labels, certain labels, but like, who are you? Who are you? And are you feeding into the areas that you would call hobbies or interests, or that spark you? Are you feeding into that? So this is kind of like calling us out to know your worth and to be authentic. Like, once you know your worth, you kind of assess, like, why am I pleasing these people? Like, why am I putting myself out there or putting myself in situations that I don't really want to be in, right? So be authentic. And again, I feel like a lot of you have pain in your heart, and this could be that this is what you're dealing with. It's causing you great pain, or that you have pain stored. But really, I see it more as this storm is causing you, and it's uprooting so much pain. So find the authentic you. And if you have a hard time figuring out who that is, spend time, spend a few days, maybe a few days a week, trying to journal it out, like verbal diarrhea. Just put it on paper, see what comes to mind. But that's the message that I see here. It's like, yes, you're going through this, you feel like you're in this fork in the road, and it feels chaotic, and you feel like giving up, like you can't handle it anymore. But it's like, yeah, you can handle it, and it's time to move forward. It's time to move forward, presenting your authentic self. And also, this card came up here, and it's plain and simple. It says, sorry, I don't know if you can see that. It says, I love you. I love you. These are powerful words. And I would recommend you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, I love you. I love you. As well as expressing your love to those you care about, right? I know my family growing up, we didn't really tell each other, I love you. And it wasn't until recently that we started saying that. And even my dad, when we tell him, he's like he doesn't know how to take it. And I feel like that's a lot of us. We don't know how to accept love. It feels awkward. It feels icky. It's like, all right, stop giving me attention, right? We're not used to it. So yes, there was adversity, and you felt like hopeless, like you couldn't overcome, like it was too big, too major. But you're going to overcome it, and it's going to lead you into a path that's more aligned with the real you. And when it's more aligned with the real you, you're like more connected to your higher self, to spirit, to God, to goddess. So I think this is a beautiful message. Like, don't lose yourself. Don't lose yourself in being wife. Don't lose yourself in being husband. Don't lose yourself in being whatever occupation. And I'm doing this because I like different hats. It's like, don't lose yourself. Honor yourself. Figure out who you are and honor that person and be you. Be real. And let your words not only speak your truth, but let them be loving too. With this I love you card, right? This reminds me of Don Miguel Ruiz, the 4 agreements. First of all, I learned at church as a young kid that what you say has power. Like what you declare, you're casting spells, right? Be it good, be it bad, but you're like forecasting. There's power behind words. And Don Miguel Ruiz in the 4 agreements says, like, be impeccable with your words. Be impeccable. Is it kind? And this other meme that says, is it kind? Is it necessary? And that's what I think of. And that's how I try to communicate. Not to say I always do. By all means, sometimes my ego takes over. And that's what happened to me. If I may, if I'm going to share something personal. The past 2 days, I had this argument. And I found myself buying into these lies, these old narratives of how I used to be. And I started believing these lies. And in believing them, I started reacting aggressively and angrily towards my partner. And I really had to step back and say, like, there's a part of me that still hasn't healed completely from this. And I need to hone in on it because I'm feeding into lies that are not my reality. But I put on this lens that says, these false narratives, and my body reacts as if it's real. So I don't know if you've heard the term, like, you and your alignment, you are at peace. You are not shaken. You are, like, you have strong conviction. You're strong-willed. Like, you're not shaken, right? You're a strong foundation. But once you're angered or offended, or it's kind of like the ego takes over, right? So once I'm pissed, once I'm upset, it's like, okay, I got rocked off of my alignment. And why? Like, what was it? What is it showing me? If everyone's a mirror and I see something that I'm getting upset at, and it's of someone, then what is it? What do I need to look at? So it's very important for us to make sure we understand that sometimes, because the brain is a memory bank, and because our ego wants to feed our body and mind pain, like, we really have to figure out, is what I'm saying coming out of a place of alignment? Is it coming out of a place of love? Or am I allowing my ego to come out, right? So there's a lot of responsibility with what we say. And that's something else that Don Miguel Ruiz speaks of, is that, like, once you said it, it's out there, right? So you have to be careful and mindful of what you put out there. So let me pull one more card. I feel called to pull one more. Let me know if you have any questions about anything that I've mentioned here. I know I kind of had to pause because my little munchkin walked through the door, so my apologies. But let's see. Any final message for the collective? And you know what? This tied in perfectly. I don't think I've mentioned it already. But in the beginning, I was saying that as I was getting ready in the morning, what came to me was, people should not run away from their pain. People should not, like, we should address the pain. Like, we should address, because of the image that I got is like we're running away from it. We don't want to deal with it, like avoidance, right? Like a lot of people in relationships, they avoid certain topics. They avoid each other during certain situations because they just want to avoid it. So didn't that just fit in perfectly with the message of this evolving and being authentic? And part of that is addressing, this pain that's been stored here, letting that go so that we can make room for better, right? For better energy, healthier relationships. And I'm not saying like leave your partner. No, I'm saying we need to change ourselves too, so that our relationships could look better. Our relationships with our children, with our friends, with our partner also benefit from our inner work. All right. So, message for the collective. I feel like I pulled this card recently. It says, hope is the conduit for miracles. It's like you're going through this, and you think you're not strong enough, but have hope. Like you are strong enough, and you're going to get through it. And once you reach that other side, I'm telling you, I feel it. Like you're going to feel this extreme sense of peace. So I hope you enjoyed this message. And again, let me know if you have any questions about anything that was mentioned. I'd love to hear your comments. Thank you so much.